In the 1st century AD, Rome was the largest city in the world. Its population exceeded 1 million people, which was an incredible number for the ancient world. Most other major cities at that time had only tens or hundreds of thousands of residents. Rome was the center of a vast empire that stretched from Britain to the Middle East and from North Africa to much of Europe. During the reign of the Emperor Augustus, the city expanded rapidly. New roads, temples, markets, arches, and palaces were built. Rome became the political, economic, and cultural center of the empire. Senators, merchants, craftsmen, soldiers, slaves, and travelers from many regions of the world lived there. Every day, the city was full of activity. Markets sold goods brought from distant lands, religious ceremonies took place in temples, and political discussions happened in public squares and forums. In ancient Rome, wealthy people had a unique tradition when it came to dining. During large banquets, they did not sit at tables as we do today. Instead, they reclined on special couches called triclinium. This tradition originally came from Greek culture and became a symbol of luxury and high social status. During these feasts, guests lay on their sides, supporting themselves on one elbow, while slaves served the food. Banquets could last for many hours and often included several courses. Typically, they began with light appetizers, followed by main dishes such as meat, fish, or game, and ended with fruits and sweets. Wealthy Romans loved to impress their guests with exotic foods. Slavery was a major part of the economy and daily life in ancient Rome. Many wealthy families owned several slaves who performed different tasks. Slaves worked as household servants, cooks, teachers, farm workers, and laborers. Some slaves even worked as accountants, doctors, or skilled craftsmen. Many slaves came from territories conquered by the Roman Empire. Prisoners of war were often sold into slavery and transported to different parts of the empire. Although slavery was harsh and unfair, some slaves could eventually gain their freedom. A freed slave was known as a freedman and could sometimes start a business or build a new life. Despite this possibility, most slaves lived difficult lives and had little control over their own future. Public bathhouses were one of the most important social places in ancient Rome. People from many social classes visited these baths regularly to relax, clean themselves, and socialize. Large bath complexes, such as the famous baths of Caracalla, were enormous buildings that included hot baths, warm baths, cold pools, exercise areas, gardens, and even libraries. Visitors usually followed a specific bathing routine. First, they exercised or relaxed in warm rooms. Then they moved to hotter rooms where steam and hot water helped open their pores. Finally, they cooled down in cold pools. Roman baths were not just about cleanliness. They were also places where people talked about politics, business, and everyday life. One of the most impressive engineering achievements of ancient Rome was its system of aqueducts. These massive structures carried fresh water from distant mountains and rivers into cities. The aqueducts transported water over long distances using gravity. Carefully designed channels allowed water to flow gradually downhill toward the city. In Rome, aqueducts supplied water to fountains, bathhouses, public toilets, and sometimes even private homes. This constant supply of water helped support the city's large population. Roman engineers built aqueducts using stone, concrete, and precise calculations. Some aqueducts stretched for dozens of miles and crossed valleys using huge arches. These structures were incredibly durable. In fact, parts of some Roman aqueducts are still standing today. The aqueduct system showed the advanced engineering skills of Roman civilization. Life in ancient Rome was far from quiet. The streets of Rome were incredibly busy and noisy almost all the time. During the day, markets were filled with merchants loudly advertising their goods. Street vendors sold food, clothes, pottery, and many other items. Craftsmen worked in open workshops, creating constant noise from tools and materials. Carts and wagons transporting goods through the city also added to the chaos. The wheels of heavy carts rattled loudly over the stone roads, especially at night when many deliveries were made to avoid daytime traffic. Animals such as horses, donkeys, and mules were common on the streets and contributed to the noise and mess. The combination of animals, carts, crowds, and street vendors made the city loud and crowded.
Ancient Rome had a surprisingly advanced system of public toilets. In large cities, especially in Rome, special public latrines were built that could be used by many people at the same time. These toilets usually consisted of long stone benches with holes cut into them. People sat side by side without any partitions, meaning there was almost no privacy. For Romans, this was completely normal, and people often used the opportunity to talk while using the facilities. Underneath the benches, water constantly flowed to carry waste into the city's sewer system. One of the most popular forms of entertainment in ancient Rome was gladiator combat. The most famous place where these battles took place was the Colosseum, a massive amphitheater that could hold around 50,000 to 65,000 spectators. Gladiators were fighters who battled each other or fought wild animals in the arena. Many of them were slaves or prisoners of war, but some volunteers chose to become gladiators in order to gain fame and money. People attended these events much like modern audiences attend sports games today. The arena was filled with loud cheering, dramatic moments, and elaborate shows. Sometimes, a defeated gladiator could be spared if the crowd or the event organizer decided to show mercy. However, many fights ended in death. Most ordinary people in Rome did not live in comfortable houses or villas. Instead, they lived in crowded apartment buildings known as insulae. These buildings were often several stories high and packed with many families. The lower floors of the building were usually more expensive because they were safer and easier to access. Wealthier residents or shop owners often lived there. The upper floors were cheaper but much more dangerous. Some buildings were poorly constructed and could collapse without warning. Fire was also a major threat. Many insulae were made partly from wood and other flammable materials. With cooking fires, oil lamps, and crowded living spaces, fires could spread quickly through entire neighborhoods. Living conditions in these buildings were often cramped and uncomfortable,